All right. Now we'll go on from here, talking about the different uh, vital signs that we uh, need to make use of when we are um, writing, but that we need to also be able to use when we are, uh, writing, and you should be able to note them. You should be able to identify them when you are using, you are reading or listening. Okay, so that is that. So she was shocked, frightened, overwhelmed. So now my understanding or observation about some of these high level words are the words that we use on a normal day. We use them on a normal day. We use them typically, but we don't. I mean, we know them on a normal day, but we don't use them typically. So I don't know whether you understand what I mean by that. You know something, but because if, for example, you use them in your place of work, they will just begin to label you and say, oh, today or somebody, the grammarian is here already. All right. So that's the reason why you don't make use of them often. But these are typical words that you know of them, you know about them, you know how they are used, but you don't use them on a typical day. So now you have to make use of them every day. Very as compared to quite. All right. And not the same, they don't carry the same weight in English language. You have to use those a little bit above, what's it called now? A little bit above basic language in your essay. Now, let me also say this, that one of the ways places where you can get a stockpile of some of these things, readily, a stockpile of some of these things, they are there readily. If you make use of Instagram, okay, Instagram, there are several people like me on the Instagram that, they help people with different word usage, okay? Different word usage, different vocabularies and all of that. So you could go there, you will see some of them that they'll place side by side, the low level words and the high level words. You know, online IELTS, Instagram pages, you'll see them, they place these old level, these good words, the high vocabulary words and low vocabulary words, they place them side by side. So you could just go there and do some mining, download some of these things, learn them, and begin to use them from time to time, and use them typically in your IELTS. All right. So now the number 10th thing, we still have a long way to go. Number 10, I can't believe we are still on number 10. So number 10th thing is that we have paraphrasing. Paraphrasing, you have to paraphrase your words. From time to time, don't make use of words at them verbatim. When you're writing, you have to paraphrase from time to time. For example, when they give you, we're going to talk about paraphrasing in what's it called now? In excess. I mean, in excess. By the time we talk about, we may talk about writing. But most teachers online and the rest of them, they just basically talk about paraphrasing in writing. But paraphrasing, I put it to you now, and I'm saying categorically and authoritatively that paraphrasing is one of the things you need to survive. Why do you get to reading and you are looking for an answer? The answer is there at you, is there looking at you, but because they have paraphrased it, all right, they have paraphrased it, and the answers or the wordings have changed their locations, then you find it hard to find your answers. It's a bit difficult for you to look for it to get your answer. So paraphrasals are very, very important. Paraphrasing is very, very important. You should be able to use paraphrasing, whether as a writer, as you write, you should be able to locate them when they are writing, when they are using it in reading, and you should locate them, you should be able to locate them when they are using it in listening. So paraphrasing is all these things we are talking about from beginning to the end are all the pillars that your IELTS is all about. So you must make use of paraphrasals a lot. we could make use of paraphrasals a lot. For example, walking every morning, um, uh, walking every morning is another form of exercise. How do we paraphrase that? We can say taking a walk, each morning. Each morning is, and some words might have to come in anyway. Exactly. Another type of physical, a type of physical fitness routine. Okay, taking a walk each morning is another type of physical fitness routine. Physical fitness, okay, fitness. Now, so this is it. But what if we now, swap them, as in do what's it called now? Passivization. We swap them. You invert them. So we can say another type of physical fitness routine is taking okay, something just came in my mind, but let's go. Taking a walk each morning. Okay, we used each morning the other time. Each morning. Okay. So another type of physical fitness routine is taking a walk each morning. Now, if you look at it compared to this is the original sentence. This is the original sentence. So permit me to put it here. This is the original sentence. Now, we have a paraphrasal one. We have paraphrasal 2. Now you find out that if we wrote it like P1, it might be quite easy to tell that this is what that has been paraphrased into this. But it becomes a lot more difficult if it is P2. And IELTS will not do P1 for you. They will do something even thicker than P2. Thicker, tougher, harder than P2. And if they use it at you in your listening and your reading, you must be able to use it at them in your writing. That is where dexterity comes into your writing. Okay? Now, another major thing IELTS is big on is synonyms. That was what I was trying to drive at when I was teaching you verbal verbs and verb and preposition collocation. I was trying to teach you how to build your synonymical vocabulary such that it will be easy for you to draw from a pool of synonyms whenever you are writing or reading or whatever. So it is very, very important to use synonyms. Now, synonyms you can't, of course, okay, we can try as much as possible to maybe from time to time do some synonym study, but synonym study should be done on a daily basis. Please, whenever I'm coming in contact with new students, I say you must eat, drink, write, live, dream, walk, talk, IELTS. That is to say, when you are going to work in the morning, whatever happens on the road could help you to write a good IELTS exam or essay. What happened in the market when you go to the market could help you to write a good IELTS essay or help you, in your IELTS. Whenever you are reading, maybe you're reading a news item, don't just read news item or listen to news items on the TV. As you are listening to news items, you are also relating them make them relatable to your IELTS, because you never can tell when such news items is going to help in your IELTS. So it is very, very important that you eat, drink, write, speak, pray, dream, IELTS. For the next 1 month or for the next time you're going to write IELTS, you should, for the number of period you're going to be preparing to write IELTS, you should, all about you should be IELTS. Because everything that you're going to be doing, you're going to be listening, might come in handy in your IELTS. So which brings us to the fact that vocabulary study is not a one-time thing. As a matter of fact, it is from time to time. Okay, synonyms, they want to talk about, and you find out that we use a great deal of synonyms here. Walking every morning is another form of exercise. So we talked about taking a walk instead of saying walking. That is synonyms. Synonyms. Each has been replaced with every. Another type of physical fitness routine. We didn't say another form of exercise. We said form of, type of physical fitness routine, exercise. So physical, instead of exercise, we say physical fitness. So synonym is all about IELTS, and IELTS is all about synonyms. So you must do that. Now, another thing that will help you to put you off as a good person, as a good student of English language, and increase your proficiency rating in English language is to write in two infinitive. To err is human, to forgive is divine, is a typical example of writing in two infinitive. Okay, let's say, for example, let's say, okay, to eat eba, sorry, to eat eba in the morning is an invitation to a dull morning. Okay, so for example, you have that to eat eba in the morning is an invitation to a dull morning. So that is, you should try as much as possible to bring in two infinitive into your essay. All right, so into your essay, you should also be able to understand and identify them. So when you talk about wide range of structures, I think I opened that what's it called now, band scripture for you, and I showed you how that it is very, very important for you to make use of sentences of varying length. Is anybody trying to? So, sentences of varying length. Let's see sentences of varying length. Hello. From who are we getting that feedback? Okay. Let me see. Okay, Lovett. Okay, I think that's settled. That's settled for now. Okay, now we were saying that, look at this here, under grammatical range and accuracy, we have uses a wide range of structures with full flexibility and accuracy. Wide range of structures. Structure basically means sentence form, sentence length. So here you have under band, it uses a wide range of structures. Okay, the majority of sentences are error-free, makes only very occasional errors or inappropriate. Then you have uses a variety of complex structures produces frequent error-free. Error-free sentence has good control of grammar and punctuation, but make a few errors. Uses a mix of simple and complex structure. Uses a mix of simple and complex sentence forms. So you find out that your simple and complex sentence forms are very, very important. So so let's go back to our material. What's it called now? This thing. You find out that here what we are saying is that you should be able to use simple sentence. Use simple sentences. That's on one side. Simple sentences. You should be able to use compound sentences. You should be able to use compound complex sentences. And you should be able to use complex sentences. Now, let me say this, that you will not be rated so high if your work is only filled with simple sentences, but you'll be rated high if your work has more of these three. Okay? You can have one simple sentence or two throughout your whole essay, but your compound complex sentences and compound sentence and complex sentences are the things that you need to score very high. And it is very, very important that I tell you that you need to read up on sentence formation. And one of the ways I will tell you that categorically, one of the ways to write very good complex sentences and compound complex sentences is when you make use of your coercive devices. Use your coercive devices, use your subordinate clauses, use your relative clauses, use passivization, use this. We are still coming to this, our litmus. We are still coming to this man who is from a rich home, but is living like a pauper. We are still coming to that. I'm going to try to extend what that part, extend that sentence into mega sentences using all of these things that we have been talking about so far. So, and because that's going to be your second assignment. Because first assignment has been that you must be able to write out all of these things from the internet, write more on them from the internet, and dig more into the internet and get examples of these things, get them out and read them. Once you have read them, you will now begin to form mega sentences, complex sentences, using these things to form compound sentences. They are going to come to that. There are some that may not really come into the picture now, and there are some that will come into the picture now. So now in IELTS, you don't overgeneralize. You don't overgeneralize. You can't say if the government, for example, you can't say if the government spends. What's overgeneralizing is to make sure to kind of show or insinuate that every time a particular action is taken, that particular action typically leads to a particular outcome. That is overgeneralization. You are overgeneralizing. You know the cliche is now that some of our female folks are going about and say men are scum, men are bad, women are scum. Even men say women are scum, meaning men are bad. That's overgeneralization. You have not met some people who are better than some of the people you have had experiences with. That's why you are overgeneralizing. So don't overgeneralize. So overgeneralizing in IELTS means that once you apply an action, it will typically and always bring about a particular result. It is wrong. If, for example, if government spends more money on education, then you are saying the result will be this. will no doubt, the emphasis is not on no doubt. Oh. We are not saying no doubt is the problem here, but we are saying that even if I remove no doubt, this will bring about a reduction in the what's it called now? A reduction in the number of out of school children. Okay, if you so now you are saying whenever any government spends money on education, it will bring about reduction in out of school children. Is a lie. It's not all the time. When government spend money on education, that it typically and naturally brings about a reduction in out of school children. No, it's not all the time. So this is overgeneralization. But let's now see how we can restructure that so that we will not overgeneralize. IELTS frowns at overgeneralization. If you read your what's it called now? Your band descriptor, you find out that IELTS in that band descriptor, they are saying don't overgeneralize. Let's use overgeneralize as OG. Okay, overgeneralize as OG. Then let's use the one that we don't generalize. Okay, NOG, no overgeneralization. Okay, let's use that one as that. So let's see. If the government spends more money on education, this, and I remove will no doubt, and I said this might bring about, I have removed overgeneralization there. This might, or this is likely to, I brought taking away my overgeneralization. This is likely to, this tends to, I've taken away overgeneralization. This possibly might. Okay, we don't want to use possibly might. This will possibly because it's still under probability, possibly bring about a reduction in the number of out-of-school children. So these are words like that are words that help you to stay away from overgeneralization. You can't say if a particular line of action has been taken, automatically that line of action will bring about one specified result. It is not always like that. And it is not research that you are doing. If it is a research that you're writing is a research, then you must have researched that yes, this particular action will bring about this outcome, but it is not like that. So there are two different things. So you must not overgeneralize. Now, when it comes to overuse and underuse of words, overuse is, let's take them one after the other. Overuse is using one word more than once. E.g., especially what are these called now? Coercive. Please don't use one coercive more than once. So do not use one coercive more than once. Do not use one coercive device more than once. That is why I'm asking you to go back online and dig out as many as you can. One coercive device can be maybe if you use although here, let's say, although in one case, you can go, however, in another case, you can go nonetheless in another case. So if you use especially, especially in one case. You can use in particular in another case. Okay, and you can use particularly in another case. So no overuse of words. That's why I was talking about making use of this to generalize your word. You want to talk about people, the rate of pregnancy, the rate of pregnancy, you can talk about the rate of people who take in, or you understand. So you can generalize your word with preposition, and you can diversify your words with preposition, verb and prepositional collocation, and you can diversify your word with synonyms, so that you don't have to overuse a particular word. Now, what is underuse? Underuse is when you don't use a word correctly. Like if, for example, in a place where you are supposed to use cohesive device, detour or contrast cohesive device, and you go ahead to use especially to show emphasis, then you have underused that particular word. Okay, so don't underuse any word, don't overuse any word. Okay, that is that. And we saw punctuation very, very seriously in that particular place. Please use your punctuations very well. Use your punctuations very, 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 very well. Use your punctuations very well. Then, of course, no repetition. Repetition, if you stay away from overuse and underuse, you'll be avoiding repetition. If you make use of synonyms, you'll be avoiding repetition. If you make use of collocation, especially phrasal verbs, there will be no repetition. Don't repeat words. IELTS is big on synonyms. Use synonyms instead of word repetition. Don't repeat words. Please don't repeat words in IELTS. If you don't have a good stockpile of synonyms, start working on it right now, because it will matter in the exam, and it will matter in my own work too. Once I give you something to do and you don't, you make what's it called now, repetition, then there's very huge likelihood that you will not, you will not be coming out with a very good score. All right. So, Chiong Ayofumi is raising a hand. Could you please unmute your microphone and let's hear what your question is.
Sorry, please, could you go over the underuse of words again, please, sir?
Okay. Now, underuse of words is when you don't use a word correctly. Now, for example, if, for example, you have the man, although being very learned, has not been able to turn around, turn around his knowledge into a life of active prosperity. Let's just prosperity. Okay, let's see. The man, although being very learned, has not been able to turn around his knowledge into a life of active prosperity. Now, do you know somebody can have, instead of this, somebody can have can write especially being learned. And momentarily, the person might feel, I think I've written something good. But you find out that especially does not go there. So in usage, especially there is underused because it is not used the right way. I hope that settles your curiosity. Okay, I'm not sure she's still here. So let's, okay, she's, okay, now, so that's it basically. Don't underuse, or underuse basically means that you don't have a good understanding of what that particular, or the usage of that particular word. So don't underuse words. So we're at repetition. Please don't repeat words. Try as much as possible to stay away from repeating of words. Stay away from repetition of words. You can use synonyms. Actually, when you're talking about children, for example, maybe you're writing an essay on children. Children can be interchanged with infants as used in your expression. Can be, of course, children and offspring are perfect synonyms. But when you have want of words, you can use infant, you can use children, you can use offspring, you can use word. We know that there's a difference between children and word. Your word is children that is not biologically yours, but that's living with you, and you are their guardian. So parents can also be used interchangeably with guardian. Words can be used interchangeably with children. So these are things you find out that IELTS is all about you using that that dexterously smart usage of your words, not that they are looking for perfect synonyms, but your usage of words that are not perfect synonyms matters a lot in the way you your work turns out to be. All right, so no irrelevant details. Okay, please try to stay away from irrelevant details. Just go straight to the point. Whatever you are bringing in should help in buttressing your point. And then we talk about number 20, we talk about clear and good paragraphing. Now, let me say this, that in IELTS, I'm advising that you don't use indentation form or type of paragraphing. The world is fast moving away from indentation form of paragraphing. So basically what you do is you make use of block paragraphing. Like, for example, okay, we have this here now. We have this. Let's say this is a paragraph. The whole of this is a paragraph. Let's say the whole of this is a paragraph. So when you want to do another paragraph, typically they ask us to leave a line and you start writing. Abi? No, that is not how it is done. Don't do that in IELTS where you leave a line and start writing. Then no. Don't do that in IELTS. Don't leave that line in between the margin and your first word of the paragraph. What you need to do is leave a space. Okay, Mr. Tunde, can we have your question, please? Quickly, please. Hello, we can't hear you. Mr. Tunde, can we have your question? I can see
Are
your
you
hand.
hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Are you hearing me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I'm asking a question pertaining to tax 1 and tax 2.
Yes, yes.
Is it writing? IELTS writing. Can the two tax be in blocked form?
Both, as far as I'm concerned, should be block form, in block paragraph.
Okay.
Now, when you want to now indicate that you are starting another paragraph, you basically just leave a line. So between, like, look at this, what I've done here now. There is a line between complex structures and starting a paragraph on new generalization. There is a line between new generalization and starting a sentence with no overusage. That is how you do it. You leave a line in between. Despite you start on a block, if you are starting on the block paragraphing, just leave lines between paragraphs. It clearly states where your one paragraph begins and ends. So it is very, very important for you to do your paragraphing like that. Typical reason is that, okay, maybe I'll talk about that later on, but let's quickly end this one. We have 2 minutes to exit and join again. So please permit me to stop this so that we can join afterwards. Okay.